Flight Boss, bitch, you know, for sure. You're not listening to the Mind of Terry Smooth, Flight Boss, the Archangel Uriel, and I'm here to carry out God duties and motherfucking responsibilities. And right now, I want to talk about understanding the mind and how to truly connect with the true source, and how to truly become with the all, and how to truly become one. Because there's so much lost in indoctrination amongst this realm of reality we in right now that people who even think they know what's going on truly is indoctrinated. Now, for the most part, this is what you need to understand. It doesn't matter what realm of reality you are in. You're not doing anything but learning about yourself. I repeat, you're not doing anything but learning about yourself. It doesn't matter what person, place, or thing you are around. They are representations of yourself. So when you get someone who's teaching that's lost in the physical and tell you that you need to go and they start to teach you concepts about the thyself and you need to know yourself, their indoctrination is pointing you into the wrong direction, because it puts you in a separate situation with the Lucifer spirit once again, to the point that you go within but you close out everything else. And what's happening is you put yourself in your own secluded world, in your own secluded space, and it gets hard to manifest and create when you don't have nothing to work with, because you're not utilizing no attributes or elements from the external realm, which is outside of you. You see what I'm saying? So there's a misconception when we talking about knowing thyself. See, you're in a realm of reality where you are receiving, but you are perceiving others around you. So for the most part, when we talk about understanding thyself, this goes down into the aspect of understanding everything that's around you. And since you are in the third dimension in the physical brain right now, the mind is like the processor that's able, and it's like the energy that's able for you to access between and analyze between the astral realm and the physical realm. So it's like the medium. You see what I'm saying? So when you talk about knowing thyself, before you go teaching or telling somebody to know themselves, you have to understand that you're already in a self. So you have to understand your surroundings, and the better you understand your surroundings, the more you're going to understand your position and yourself within that surroundings. And that's the process of learning about yourself. This is why we even talk about the planets and things of that nature, knowing thyself, because you have these representations within you. So it's not about you going within yourself and excluding everything that's outside of you. It's the better you have an understanding and overstanding of the things outside of you, the better you understand who you are. Now, when we talk about, for an example, you have people who level of consciousness don't go past the sun. So in some way, shape, or form, it goes into Lucifer, male, pantheism type of outlook, no matter what spectrum you in, whether you're on an atheistic or trying to be consciously aware, you're in the conscious community or whatever like that, any type of form of that. If you're not incorporating other stars and spectrums and spaces and the locations that these stars are traveling through, then you truly are a fool. You shouldn't be teaching, because for the most part, when it gets to these aspects, it always leads to man. Even when people want to talk about coming into certain forms of existences, and people out here who only have a level of understanding about the sun, they put themselves in circumstances and situations where you would have to ask them who was the first man then. And then you have people on the opposite end who want to say woman was the first. But then you have to put them in a situation where we're saying you have to understand we all came here together. Each body part and attribute came from a different location in the astral realm as us traveling as spirits, creating bodies and forms for us to go into, from the most less dense, non-physical to the most physical, from the highest brain cell that die and transform once the spirit lived that level of life, and if it wanted to live another level of life. Once we start getting into concepts of lower levels of life behind, that's getting indoctrinated. We need to talk about what spirits wanted to do. It takes levels of life. The lighter the body that the spirit will take, the faster the experiences. There's no time. It's too much chaos. There's no time to experience time in that imagination. So it likes to create more dense, more heavier forms in the energy realm, as far as the spirit being in the astral frequency vibration realm. And boom, it creates cells and different forms of bodies that come in different forms of realms of realities. But there's many different ways to come in many different realms of realities as far as spirit. So when you want to talk about the woman and the female, we want to talk about energies first. And the woman that plays out as a woman, she just her as a spirit, her astral travels based upon what she was relative to the body she created for herself to come into the realm of reality, went through an astral plane to obtain certain attributes. So, you know, the frequency vibration of a woman, she got certain attributes of a womb. She got that. She went and traveled and got that for a body piece, got that. And certain body pieces that she had got to sustain herself through this astral travel as a spirit. And we take bodies, inhabit bodies, possess bodies. We don't become bodies. You need to understand. We don't become cells. We inhabit these. We're all forms of a cell. So a female, this one makes a female way more powerful than a male, because the attributes and the bodies that she had wanted to take. Those bodies and the spirits that take those bodies is from more powerful sources. So it's just the woman is carrying a certain attribute, but the womb itself and even other body pieces, those are their own entities. This is what you need to understand. So for the most part, when we're talking about the more you understand and learn more about your surroundings, learn about more than just one star, not just this Lucifer star that don't want you to give a fuck about any other star. It just wants you to give a fuck about what it's making you consciously aware of, so you kind of disclose yourself. Now, for the most part, you need to learn about your surroundings and time and your position, and learn how to relate to others, or learn how to make yourself a part of others, because this will make yourself understand yourself. You're not doing nothing but learning about yourself. So if a person, place, or thing come into your life that frustrates you, this is just an aspect of yourself that's showing up in your life through another shape or form to show you something that you may need to take care of. You see what I'm saying? So you have to really understand that you can't be correlating things to right or wrong, morality, and things of that nature. Things what you attract is you. So you attract you. If you attract a bunch of dumbass people around you, that's who you are. You a dumbass motherfucker. If you attract a bunch of smart motherfuckers around you, then that's who you are. You a smart motherfucker. The moment you have to argue with which one is around you or not is letting you know you're just arguing with yourself in some way, shape, and form, and you're not spiritually inclined enough to understand that's what's actually going on. You see what I'm saying? So you're not doing nothing but learning about yourself. So if you are being oppressed in any kind of way, shape, and form, or this, that, and the third, it's because you put yourself in that world. So these shapes and forms is what you're manifesting, and this is what's going to take place in your life. So you really need to start checking yourself, and that's what we mean by that. So it's important to even take advice or see how others think about you and things of that nature. Then you jump rope. You correlate these frequencies with how you think about yourself, and you bounce off with that, and then in certain circumstances and situations, you're going to end up manifesting experiences to see what work and what don't work. And that's what I mean by jump roping. You're jump roping between the spiritual and the physical. You see what I'm saying? Because your spirit is controlling the physical body, but a lot of times we get so lost in the physical that we start to think that everything outside of us is against us in some way, shape, or form, or even think we're separate in some type of way. But you're not understanding that we are all connected. So the better you understand and know how to come across, the better you will receive frequency vibrations of bringing people together. And you could utilize bringing people together in any way, shape, or form it pleases. But that's going to be correlated on your spirit. How your spirit actually carry out that duty and obligation is going to show us what kind of being is within this body that's doing these actions and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not about what you're actually trying to do. It's about what spirit you in. You could be trying to do the most beautiful things in the world. If the spirit you in is ugly, you ain't gonna get no traction for anybody to want to help you in that fucking realm of reality. You might get a few dumb motherfuckers, but these are motherfuckers who probably just so low on the totem scale that they accept that Lucifer spirit. But you know what I'm saying? It's things of that nature. So you have to understand, when we're talking about understanding stars, this is why anytime we understand new stars or understanding new things and new perspectives and new concepts, you're understanding a new aspect about yourself. You're understanding a new aspect about a new piece in your body. You know what I'm saying? When they say you're talking to yourself, you're talking to yourselves. Your cells, each cell actually have a spirit in them wanting to experience realms of realities. You know what I'm saying? That's the world that they are in at the moment. So once they outgrow that level of experience, wherever that cell is at, then that cell will die, and that spirit developed enough information to take on another heavier body or a lighter body, a heavier cell or a lighter cell, whatever that spirit choose to do, whatever on this astral travel. You see what I'm saying? Because we're all in the same astral travel, but we're all taking physical shapes and forms, which creating distance and time and perspective and shit. So this is what help you understand that there's a God actually outside of you, but you have to go within to actually understand it, because it's going to play out through the shapes and forms outside of you. But to understand the spirit of it, you have to go within the mind, and that's how you jump rope. That's how you decipher what's in front of you ain't really what it is. It's an illusion. It's really an energy signature coming to you, trying to express a certain situation to you, so you can extract the information out of it to make your spirit larger. So once your spirit get larger, that's information. Your spirit has enough. Your spirit has attained enough light and enough particles and gases, enough things in the energy realm to shape and form a body it can possess, it can inhabit, and whatever kind of body that is going to correlate to what dimension it's in. What if it's a gamma wave, you know what I'm saying? You know, the star brain waves. If it's a gamma, alpha star, whatever kind of brain that your spirit was able to create for itself, that it shows through your spirit information. Your spirit take many different cells. This is a cell. Many different cells throughout this existence, just to obtain the information in that realm of reality, because a cell is the light and the fluid that's made up out of the shapes and forms out of that realm of reality in the energy realm. You know what I'm saying? And the frequency realm is the astral realm, frequency vibration. Us as spirits, we are the creators. So we create energy, which is gas, light, sound, and highest dense, non-physical to physical. We created that program of time and shit to structure shapes and forms and things of that nature. And the more we add water and our spirit to that shit, these things can become heavy, and we can and go into these things and experience realms of reality. So we did this from as far as gas. And when you get into a world, if it was a body that was there that preceded you, that's inhabited by a bigger spirit, and you are a small spirit, you're going to have to inhabit that world in order to come out in the bigger world. So what happens is, you start to, as a spirit, you start to relate to other spirits and have sex, and with y'all rotation in the rainbow waters, it create concepts and ideas. Now you're able to ride those sounds that the spirit create, and the bodies and lights and the gas and the particles and shit. You're able to ride those, inhabit those, possess those bodies to experience that realm of reality. Then once you do that for so long, that body could get die and transform. Once you outweigh it, then you could take you have enough information to create a better physical form, which is a heavier one, which would be a more dense one once we start getting to stars and planets and beings and humans and shit. But for the most part, in the mind, as you coming into a world, this is what you do with the actual brain cells. The brain cells die also. So when you go into the brain cells, you live that experience of life. Once you outweigh that, and you want to come into the most physical experience, aka keywords, come in, not become. Come in. You never heard in no ancient text of somebody becoming. You always heard intaken, or the God of something, which the God of something is just the spirit in that being. So you know what I'm saying? So this is the even indoctrinations, and people get confused when we talk about ancient shit. When we call people gods, it wasn't necessarily we was calling a physical person God. We was calling a spirit in that person God, because the spirit in that person was had ideas that was able to play out through this light body, this physical form, and do shit that we have correlated to based upon the position we was in and the condition that the planet was in based upon planetary alignments. So when a motherfucker was born and start playing out characteristics of some shit, we start saying, oh, that's the spirit from that motherfucker, because that planet and at this time and location and position and the houses of the stars and how things is playing out on Earth, because they was really into astrology back then. How y'all looking at it now? They like, okay, based upon these positions, this is how we was feeling, and this is how things was playing out, and this is how we was acting. The person that was born at that time, or things of that nature, right, play out those certain characteristics, they worship that person, but not worship how y'all look at today. Worship was a form as how you worship your child. You breastfeed, you raise your child, give your child knowledge, and make sure your child is in the best living conditions, better than how you have it. That was worship. And this is where we get the concept of son and daughters and shit like that. Y'all got the whole game fucked up, and y'all out here really be teaching that shit like y'all smart, but the first thing y'all do is go get a motherfucking book and say, see, this is what they taught. You know what I'm saying? You have to say this is what they taught, and you have to come up with your own way of teaching it. It's all indoctrination to begin with. That whole concept. You see what I'm saying? That whole concept is indoctrination. That's what you have to understand. So anybody you see teaching from a book or trying to teach you concepts about how the ancients was thinking and things of that nature and how we came in existence, you could ask them one question. Ask them one question. Who was the first man then? You don't see their mind go crazy and shit like that, and come up with a bunch of dumbass shit to the point that they not know what they talking about. And even when it comes to the first, if it was the woman is God, all you gotta do is ask them who was the first woman. And then they're gonna be like, oh, blah, 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 which they don't understand. We all came here together carrying certain attributes that was already here. You know what I'm saying? And as a bigger spirit, I'm able to inhabit and create more forms to take to sustain myself in this realm. So since this third dimensional realm, I didn't taint a whole bunch of shit, sex organs, this shit, teeth. I didn't attracted a whole bunch of shit. But the teeth or whatever, the pinky or whatever, these themselves is in a realm of reality of themselves. This is what you need to understand. So it's not about, if anything, the womb be God, not woman. Woman just got as a spirit, they didn't thrown through the astral travels and attempt and created a similar thing as a womb. Remember, everything is like something, but it's not it. That's for people who are lost in the physical. They think everything becoming something. No, that's just like if you have a child. Your child is like you, but it's not you. So you have to look at that from every perspective. You see what I'm saying? Everything is like something, but it's not that. So this is where we get confusing, where people start confusing what the spirit is, and they start confusing it with things that's correlated to the energy realm, which is the energy realm. It's the non-physical to physical. That's the creation realm. We created that realm. We are the creators, not the creation. You see what I'm saying? So as a spirit, you're not going to go down with that. And if people really want to understand that, you always become cells. And then death is just transformation. Death is transformation. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? So when your spirit outweighs one body, one cell, that cell transforms and becomes something else, and that spirit could take another cell all the way into every level of life. Now you came out as a sperm cell, and then once you reach another egg, right? You did the same thing. Now it takes two things to come together to create the being, right? So as it's not like your sperm cell is like you and it went in an egg cell, and then the egg cell is your body, and they trying to say like the sperm cell is like the spark of life. No, it's not like that. The cell is already you. I already got cells in my body. That don't necessarily mean that they're gonna shoot. As a spirit, spirits take different cells that's riding on certain frequency vibrations that resonate with them. These are bodies they inhabit. They don't become cells. They inhabit this based upon natural selection and resonation. Like they resonate with that idea or concept. So a spirit could ride that body of fluid or ride that body of light. So when you are a cell, you are the juice that's in the cell. You are not the cell. You are the juice that's in the cell. And the semen is like earth or something like that, like the world you in. To just to survive yourself through that astral travel. So that's another body, another womb you are in. It's a womb. Then once a sperm cell go into the female, they die from that world. You see what I'm saying? Now the cells, they have to go to another world. You see what I'm saying? So now the spirits rode the sperm cell, and once they went into the woman, that world died. All them cells died and became spirits, right? And now they searching for other blood cells, other cells within the woman. So then the concepts and the ideas and the feelings and the vibrations, which is your emotions and shit, within a woman is the type of cells that the spirit take in the woman. See, we always just transforming and dying from cells. You see what I'm saying? Then we take that in a woman, and then boom, it's like, then once we reach the egg, right, that cell we took become like a skull, like your skull, in your spinal cord, because it sits in a place where it can harden up. And then the blood, which is the egg, which ain't nothing but egg cells, right? The egg cell, the egg, when you went in the egg, that ain't nothing but a cluster of blood. So what is your organs? Your kidneys, your heart, your brain, cluster of blood. So when the sperm cell go into the egg, right, it hardens up for the things that's in the egg cell to develop into your organs. This is why your organs and your heart, your kidneys and shit hang off your spinal cord like a tree. You know what I'm saying? Like tree branches, and your brain sit in the skull, because the sperm cell hardened up and became the sustaining branch for the blood, which is the egg cell, to formulate into the organs, into the same in the same way, shape, and form of the being in the body is in, which is like the woman. So when you come out, and then that's another death. When people think it's birth, that's just another death. You see what I'm saying? Another death. And then when you take your first breath, you're able to inhabit the spirit of your planetary alignment. The influences. Now your full developed spirit can access, and all the many spirits that want to come into this realm of reality after you can take all your cells that's in you. So when you're talking to yourselves, you're talking to your cells. So a lot of times they have a mind of their own. So when you have a body piece on you that's sick, say you got a hurting elbow or you got arthritis or something, you go to the hospital, take pills. The pills, whatever is in them pills, supposed to go and attack that world, attack the viruses and the things that's in that world, because the world is aching. Now that world ain't got nothing to do with you, but is this a part of you? Because it's something you attain to yourself to sustain yourself in this realm of reality. And in this realm, and since your spirit gained enough information to create a human type brain, then this was some of the information and some of the astral travels you went through to develop these beings, the hands and shit like that. So now you are, since you are the higher spirit that sit up here in the seat, and your higher spirit going to take the most important cell, you know what I'm saying, and inhabit that, is going to control and be the God over all the other cells that's within you. So the better you understand that, the better you'll understand the as above, so with as below, as without, as within. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be able to understand the concept that, okay, if there's the God in here and that's my only way to find a God, then this actually is a God, because there was a first natural being like that. So now you start to understand the concept. You can't be saying man or woman is God. You start to understand that there's a being that has nothing to do with that. There's different beings in the world. This is why you got flowers that there's so many different ways to come in so many different realms of realities. People get lost in the physical and think that physical animals and the animalistic way is the only way to come into the realm of reality. When we talk about sex and this dimension, the animalistic way how to come into this realm of reality, that's the only way in this realm. That's just this realm. That don't mean it's like that in every level of life. You see what I'm saying? So you have to understand that. That's just how we come in this level of life. Sex is perceived way different. When I was a sun, when I was a planet, it was based upon position and rotation of what we was relative to. So you may have a certain aspect of energy, and we got both organs when we reach that level of life, right? And what you need to understand is, for you to be a male or female, it's up to you what energy you correlate to. But as a fifth dimensional body, the better you know how to balance and become both, the better you could start to become a sixth dimensional being, which will be a star. But this is getting to a whole nother aspect. But I'm trying to get you to understand, like, if you never lived these levels of life and you just down here in the lost in the physical, don't even be teaching this shit. Because you just teaching somebody some shit you was taught, and some shit you just trying to give them the idea why you was taught it. You see what I'm saying? And thinking you unindoctrinating people, when really if you learn that everything is from the stars, you will learn that what you doing is getting secondhand, hand-me-down knowledge. You know what I'm saying? And your shit only makes sense in this realm of reality. But for the most part, when we talk about learning about more stars, you're learning more about yourself. Everything that's out there is you. The moment you start disclosing shit off, you're disclosing pieces of yourself. You see what I'm saying? So the more you understand more your surroundings, the more you know how to be in more agreeable natures. So therefore, you understand every prospect, no matter how a person, place, or thing is coming at you. You know how to be on each level and not be a level yourself. You see what I'm saying? Because you become the level. But the moment we start getting into, you ain't on my level, or you ain't on my this, or you ain't on my that, and this is that, and this thing is more powerful than the other, then you are lost in indoctrination. And then you to think that you are smart because you're trying to teach people that that's a dumb concept. That's still indoctrination. You still teaching it. You just teaching it how to deal with it and how to accept it in some type of way. But all of that is indoctrination. You need to understand, and until you really truly understand spiritual nature, understand the stars, you'll be able to reach this concept. You know what I'm saying? Have a higher level of thinking to know that there's many different ways to come in many different realms of realities, and everything is outside of you is you. So once the better you learn how to understand the people, places, and things outside of you, the better you understand yourself and your position in this place, in this wiring of events. and things of that nature. So, you know, that was just to break a few things down for anybody who probably don't understand. We're all spirits, and we're birthed in the spirit realm. And the spirit realm is a lot like this realm. It's just never tarnishing, never changing. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times as spirits, we get upset when we're just in pure chaos and moving, but we're not actually able to experience time in these changes. You know what I'm saying? So we try to create more bodies to inhabit that can extend the time in what we want to in our creation. You see what I'm saying? And keyword, and you got to think about what you're saying. Don't just be reading old books and things and think you smart because you deciphered it. Deciphering itself is just another form of indoctrination. You see what I'm saying? Learn it for yourself. Then learn the stars. And when I say learn the stars, learn basic positioning. No, just learn the sun. Learn why the sun is positioning in the way it's positioning. Then that's going to automatically take your mind behind the sun. Start learning why the moon is acting the way it's acting. Start learning why Mars is acting the way it's acting. Then you'll start to see like, oh, it's shit there that we can't see. Then you'll start being able to perceive new shit, aka start being able to perceive new stuff about yourself. Then your imagination and creation goes so far, you could create and manifest anything. But the moment you start tying on that you ain't creating nothing, this is reality, and what's in your mind you ain't creating, and this is hell and shit like that, and just that, you letting somebody else who did what I'm doing right now and telling you to do, you letting they science, you teaching people, or you talking about they science on what they did, what they doing, what I'm telling you to do right now. Just go outside and see the positions yourself. You see what I'm saying? Don't let somebody else tell you in hell. You go outside and come up with your own imagination on what world you in. And then nobody can tell you, because you will come up with all kind of science while you in where you at. And you won't be teaching or telling other people all kind of sciences of why they somewhere where somebody else described in somewhere else imagination. You know, don't ever live in nobody's imagination. Don't ever let nobody bitch ass create they motherfucking bitch ass conscious on the grid of your motherfucking imagination. That's all it is. When you listen to people like that, they ain't nothing but them drawing on the grid of your consciousness with they bitch ass hellistic ideas, because they didn't put themselves in their own secluded space and separate from the world. Now you can separate yourself. You still a part of everything. You just separate it within it, and you're gonna be looked at like that too. And ain't gonna be nothing you can do about it until you get with the motherfucking program and create these motherfucking relationships with the spirit realm for your folk, so it could be a big ass Titanic and we can motherfucking flow. Now at the end of the day, shit gonna crash, shit gonna transform, but it's always gonna be remembered as something big, as something known, and the name is gonna carry on for thousands of years, because that's what we were supposed to do. We're supposed to get super big and transform, because you know what? Within all those experiences, our spirit develops so much information that we end up understanding what the all truly motherfucking went through. They all don't want no weak ass motherfucker that's scared to go through any motherfucking thing down here on the spirit realm. And don't want no weak ass motherfuckers coming on like that. Yeah, you goddamn right. You gon' stay in your own secluded spot and not go no goddamn rare, because the all don't want you anyway. The all want somebody who went through and do the same thing that the all went, which is connecting with everything and coming together as one. And then we gon' transform, because that transformation is beautiful. Fuck what y'all talking about is death. Transformation is beautiful because the spirit had learned so goddamn much that we can develop enough information to create our imagination on a broader plateau. God want to work with people like that. God like extension, expansion, and contraction. God don't like nobody sitting in one motherfucking spot. Because if that's the case, the universe will be in one motherfucking spot. The universe is fake for a motherfucking reason. For your ass to imagine, but don't get stuck into your imagination. You know what I'm saying? Get the fuck out of hell. It's all kind of forms of hell. Y'all get the fuck out of hell. Flight boss, bitch. Goddamn air.